What is up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, being subbed. If you're not, hit the button. If you're listening on YouTube, hit the like. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into the politics and BS. This is going to actually be a couple of parts because I don't want this to be very long. But I've been meaning to talk about this for a minute now. And in light of the news of Candace Owens being fired by the Dailywire, I just feel that it's a conversation that needs to be had. Now, there are a lot of people who love Candace Owens. Obviously, she has millions of followers on her social media platforms, but I believe she's been given this pedestal to profit off of hate in a lot of ways because she says, in my personal opinion, a lot of things about the African American community that a lot of people who are in the majority community love to hear someone who is melanated say to so-called put her people in check, or she knows of what she speaks because she's one of them, or she's a bright, smart woman because she speaks the truth. And it's not to say that she doesn't say some things that may not be the truth or may not be facts, but does she really say those things about the majority community that may be true, that may be facts, but may not be the best light to have shed upon them to make money off of it? Absolutely not, because if she did, she would not be in the place that she has been allowed to be in. But now she has been removed from one of those places, and she hopes to continue the journey of profiting because she's asking people for their support. So the story is that after she's made the rounds at some of the, what shall we call them, Black platforms like the Breakfast Club, the Joe Budden podcast, she's been fired. But let's just be clear. She wasn't fired for speaking on those platforms. She was fired, a lot of people believe, because of things that she said, comments that she made about the French president's wife, as well as some things that she has said about the war in Gaza. And you know all about that. So I'm not even going to go into all of that. But the story is she's parted ways with the Dailywire. Dailywire and Candace Owens have ended their relationship, Dailywire CEO Jeremy Boring wrote in a post on X. He did not elaborate further. The controversial right-wing commentator and author joined the Dailywire in 2021. She also hosted a weekday commentary show on the website. She says, "The rumors are true. I am finally free," to her 4.8 million followers on X. "There will be many announcements in the weeks to come." And she said to fans who would like to support my work can visit the website and make a donation to her platform on Rev. Owens, 34, intends to host her show on her personal YouTube channel after a brief hiatus. Owens' job termination comes more than a week after she made the claim that French First Lady Brigitte Macron was born a male. Brigitte, 70, is the wife of French President Emmanuel Macron. In an X post on March 12th, Owens said she would stake her entire professional reputation on the fact that Brigitte Macron is, in fact, a man. According to Mediate.com, Owens and Dailywire co-founder Ben Shapiro fell out over her promotion of various anti-Semitic conspiracy theories in recent months. In an interview on 105.1's The Breakfast Club on Thursday, Owens explained why she married a brilliant white man. She says, "I never thought of my husband as a race. I married the person it made the most sense for me to marry." She continued, "People tend to marry their IQ. I fell in love with my husband just because I think he's one of the most brilliant people ever. I want every person to never allow race to be a barrier to you finding love. Now, listen, I don't have any issues with people who choose to be in a relationship with and even get married with people because they are of a certain race, but I couldn't see her marrying a black person, even if they had the highest IQ, because she just doesn't strike me as the type that would want, I'm just going to go there, would want children that look like her or possibly have darker skin. Now, I previously spoke about Candace Dillard-Bassett from The Real Housewives of Potomac and the comments that she made on a podcast about wanting to have children with darker skin, but she fears that she won't, and probably knows that she won't because she's married to a Caucasian man. I personally don't believe that Candace has an issue with marrying children. No, marrying children, that's not what I meant. God knows that's not what I meant. I don't believe Candace has an issue with having children with lighter skin, but I believe because she has been on this thing when it comes to a couple of the ladies, one of them particularly I really don't care for, Giselle from The Real Housewives of Potomac, and talking about her skin color and her, looking white and things like that, that she felt comfortable just not having an issue at all with having biracial children when she has been the one even making comments about Ashley's husband and his white privilege, when it is a bit hypocritical when Candace is married to a white man. So is she saying that her husband has white privilege too? And I'm not even in defense of Ashley, because God knows I don't like her either, or her husband that she refuses to get divorced from because it's convenient financially. So I just believe that a lot of the things that Candace said in that podcast about her children, it was coming mainly from a place of her probably really wanting to have lighter skinned children, because I do believe that she is someone that has dealt with being teased and picked on when she was younger. And a lot of times those things, they, subconsciously come out in other ways. So it is possible that she chose to marry a Caucasian man by design because eventually, wanting children, she would want to make sure her children didn't have to go through the same issues that she went through. Again, I'm not saying these things are facts, but I'm saying just based on some facts about the way things have been, her growing up in the South, as well as just other things that I've seen. Even though I like Candace and people can grow to love themselves, she may not have always loved herself. Again, I'm just saying these are possibilities. So don't come and argue with me in the comment section saying that I'm wrong or whatever. I'm just basically sharing my opinions. That's all I'm doing. So wearing the braids and all of those different things like that, cool. But I do find it a bit problematic every time I see Candace when they're showing her getting put together. She wears so much makeup. I believe she's even one of those people that wears makeup to bed, which is completely unhealthy, just speaking from an esthetician's perspective, right? Which is what I am, a licensed esthetician. So when I see her caking on all of the makeup, it's just, oh my gosh. So this isn't about Candace Dillard-Bassett, but it's another Candace, okay? Candace Owens. I believe that Candace Owens was speaking a bunch of bullcrap when she was talking about the reason that she married her husband is because of his intellect and his IQ. I believe she got with a Caucasian man by design because she wanted to have biracial children. I really do. I'm sorry. I just see someone like her as a bit, if not more than a bit, self-hating. You don't have to love everything about the African American community to love yourself as well, or to not be self-hating. So I'm not saying that because she has a lot of critiques about the African American community that she's self-hating. I believe there are other things about her which makes me believe that she is self-hating, as well as it's profitable for her to speak so negatively about people in the African American community. Absolutely, there are a lot of things about the African American community that are problematic. There's a lot of things about the African American community and things that people do and things that people are okay with that I'm not okay with either. I'm not a fan of the way women are portrayed and they allow themselves to be portrayed for money. For example, Sexy Red and Sukihana, like, I don't listen to any of that garbage. I don't follow any of those people. It's trash in my personal opinion. But if that's what people choose to listen to, that is on them. That's a choice. But it doesn't mean that it is a representative of the African American community, because we definitely are not a monolith. And I don't agree to it, and I don't subject myself to that. And neither would I if I had children that were coming up that would be into that garbage either. So just, using that as an example. But when Candace Owens has come up with saying so many negative things about the African American community, she doesn't talk a whole lot about what she has benefited from being a part of the African American community. So that's why I said that this is going to be a couple of parts, because I don't want this to be very long. Before she became so pro-Trump and right-wing blogger and advocate and whatever, her titles are, she was an anti-Trump blogger. But you won't hear her talk about that today. You won't. And some things that some people may not know, but the Stanford Board of Education paid out $37,500 to settle a federal lawsuit which claimed the schools failed to protect a Stanford high school student from racial attacks. The settlement agreement, obtained under the Freedom of Information Act by the Stanford Times, states that the school board has 30 days to pay the $37,500 to Stanford High graduate Candace Owens and her father Robert Owens through their attorney Norman Pattis of Bethany. The lawsuit was settled on January 10th. This is from 2008, this story, okay? We're now in 2024. William Dunn, chief financial officer for the public schools, last week said that the school's legal services and legal settlements are paid out of the school board's legal services budget. There is $375,000 in that account for the 2007-2008 school year. Candace Owens and her father Robert Owens filed the lawsuit against the Board of Education on May 24, 2007 in New Haven federal court for knowingly failing and refusing to protect her from continued harassment from students who left death threats and racial and sexual slurs on her cell phone's voicemail that past spring when she was a student at the school. According to the settlement agreement, the Board of Education denies all claims of wrongdoing and settled the suit to avoid the cost and expense of litigation. The lawsuit, filed by attorney Norman Pattis of Bethany in New Haven District Court, alleged that the Board of Education took no action on Owens' behalf after she and her family reported a series of threatening phone calls on her cell phone to school authorities. The voicemail contained 2 minutes of death threats, racial slurs, and sexual epithets recorded by 3 or 4 male voices, allegedly white, male classmates of Owens, who is black. In one message, the callers take turns making death threats. In another, a single racial slur is repeated over and over. You want to guess what that word was? I can guess. I'm pretty sure I can guess what that one is, right? But yeah. And a lot of people know her to be a grifter. And some people call her the head grifter in charge. Okay. So those racial slurs that those people were calling her, that we can guess what they were. So these people weren't calling her the head N-word in charge, but a lot of people are calling her the head grifter in charge. Now, in this article, is from 2022, and it says, and yet the latest indication that Candace Owens is pulling a fast one on her supporters in an effort to get paid at their literal expense. A new report found that one of her organizations has been seeing fewer donations as her payday from the same organization skyrockets. The findings reinforce longstanding suspicions that Owens is a con artist who is following the money. The organization in question is Owens' so-called Blexit, a group that encourages Black people to leave the Democratic Party. A review conducted by the Daily Beast found evidence suggesting that the money Blexit received in donations has been going toward inflated salaries instead of being used to fulfill its, quote, vision of changing the narrative that surrounds America's minority communities with a particular focus on African Americans. To let the Daily Beast tell it, donations to conservative commentator Candace Owens' Blexit Foundation took a precipitous drop in 2021, but the organization paid Owens more than ever, $250,000 in salary alone. That's not including the chartered flights. The damning Blexit report came days after all evidence pointed to Owens using the artist formerly known as Kanye West as another stepping stone to the money. In less than a month's time, Owens has allegedly plotted with Ye on the infamous White Lives Matter shirts that set the stage for the rapper's anti-Semitism scandal, which arguably paved the way for Ye to not only move to buy the right-wing Parler social media platform that happens to be run by Owens' husband, but also prompted major brands to sever ties that resulted in a major money loss for Ye. All of the above has likely helped enrich Owens and her family by way of publicity for her struggle documentary on Black Lives Matter, as well as a probable payday for her husband if the Parler deal ever goes through. Meanwhile, Ye is also facing a $250 million lawsuit for echoing Owens' conspiracy theory that George Floyd died from fentanyl use and not Derek Chauvin's illegal kneeling restraint on the handcuffed man's neck. In total, Ye lost more than $1 billion of his net worth. Owens, on the other hand, is probably laughing all the way to the bank. Owens didn't let a setback like the U.S. Supreme Court rejecting her earlier this month affect her as she remained on task while wearing a matching White Lives Matter t-shirt with Kanye West during the rapper's fashion show in Paris. Chances are likely that she will be trying to sell those t-shirts, much like the time she got busted stealing Kanye's t-shirt designs for her failing Blexit, a slogan she also stole from the Bank Black movement. There's a lot of stuff in this article, and I'm actually going to put the link to it in the description box, but just to read a few more things. In May of 2018, BuzzFeed reported that Candace Owens was the CEO of an anti-Trump, liberal-leaning website called Degree 180. Owens wrote in 2015 that it was good news that the Republican Tea Party will eventually die off peacefully in their sleep, we hope. This is quoted. This is what she said. Degree 180 also talked about Trump's penis size and him being racist with an immigrant's wife. The site reportedly shut down by the end of 2016, and Owens magically came out as a conservative on YouTube a few months later. Listen, I mean, everybody has a right to change their mind or be enlightened or whatever. Maybe that's what her thing is she's going to say, well, yeah, I had to change of heart, changed my mind, and saw that this was an opportunity to change my pockets. In March of 2018, Owens was slithering onto TV stations and finally made it to Fox News. She spit out a line that went viral and made her a darling of pseudo-conservatives. Owens said the National Rifle Association was founded by a civil rights organization that protected Black people from the KKK. Even the Fox News host said, "I've never heard that before. That's so interesting." She never heard it before either because it was a lie. PolitiFact confirms she lied or is just willfully ignorant. According to the NRA's own website, dismayed by the lack of marksmanship shown by their troops, Union veterans Colonel William C. Church and General George Wingate formed the National Rifle Association in 1871. The primary goal of the association would be to promote and encourage rifle shooting on a scientific basis. I don't think it says anything in there about protecting black people from the KKK. So, but again, if you say things that are going to be good for those itching ears that want to hear things that makes what a lot of people are pushing okay, then they're going to believe it. They're not going to go and research it to see if it's true. As long as it sounds okay to them, they're going to say, oh, yeah, that sounds good. You know? Another bit of proof that Candace Owens is a grifter. It was reported that at the age of 28, Candace Owens was so fiscally irresponsible that she rented a $3,500 a month apartment, lived there for 6 months rent-free, then claimed she had gotten toxic mold sickness and threatened to sue her landlord to avoid paying rent. You know, like, the woman has a history of grifting and getting by and getting more than what she deserves. So now, in this space of her being let go from the Daily Wire, and she's immediately coming out to make it seem like she was a victim in some way of being held hostage, and now she's free. So to support free speech, support me financially, go to my website, give money, give, money, money, money. And the thing about this is, it is not a shock to me. I'm honestly not surprised. And she will probably grow even more, because we just live in this age right now where people are willfully and woefully ignorant. And as long as people are saying things that makes them feel good, whether it's making them feel better about themselves by putting others that don't look like them or don't believe like them or don't agree with them down, then they are willing to give money to that cause. Because the grift of the former president is just absolutely asinine. And to hear that people are willing to give him money to pay for his legal fees that have nothing to do with the country, but people will allow him to twist things and say things to make it seem like this is about you. I'm being prosecuted for you. They're coming after me because they know that I'm going to save you, like he's Jesus Christ or something. It's just absolutely insane. But again, they're out there giving donations. They're giving to a GoFundMe. They're saying, save this man of God. I mean, that's pretty much what they're trying to equate him to. And it's absolutely ridiculous when there's so many people out here that really are struggling and need help that people wouldn't give a dime to, wouldn't spit on them if they needed to wash their hands. You know, like, here's some slobber, use that and get your hands clean, rub them together. Like, people are just stupid when it comes to what they allow themselves to get folded up into. And that's why when people wonder and question how do people get caught up in cults, this is why. Because the mindsets are very feeble of so many people. I'm going to share more because there's some commentary that I want to share from someone that did some commentary on Candace Owens, and actually it's about 3 years old, and I had been meaning to talk about this a while ago, so I feel like now is the time. It's come full circle. So we'll get into that in a separate piece of politics and BS here on the Being Beautifully Honest channel. But so far, you guys let me know what you think about Candace Owens being let go and saying she's finally free as if she was held hostage. What do you think about the things that I've shared about her being called a grifter and the history of where she went from being liberal leaning and being a Trump critic to now being one of the biggest Trump supporters and being anti anything liberal, democratic, and sometimes people even feel black. So that's why even a lot of people have been surprised by her presence here recently on The Breakfast Club and the Joe Budden podcast, you know. So let me know your thoughts about all of this in the comment section. Thanks, guys, so much for being here, liking, and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until next time, I just wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.